Hello and welcome back to another reaction, in this occasion, Wakfu episode 6 of the second season. Last time we saw kind of a filler episode. I don't want to say filler because it was important for them to be, traveling towards the kingdom of Saridam. And of course they find something in the middle of this journey. But it's still, the consequences are not that big or not that extensive. It was self-concluded. That doesn't mean it's less important, no, less fun episode, because it was great. As I said before, the way the series works is usually, and I'm basing myself in the first season, it's, of course, most of the episodes are self-fulfilling. They start with something and they end with said something, or the resolution of the problem that appeared at the beginning of the episode. And that is mostly Wakfu. Yes, there are episodes in which they took 3 times the length so they can resolve the problem or resolve the situation in which they are. But still, that is mostly how Wakfu works. As I said before, I'm basing myself on the first season. And this is one of those old episodes in which it was self-fulfilling. It starts with a problem and it ends the problem at the end of the episode. Not like the first 4 episodes of the second season. And it's an interesting way of telling a story, because again, they use these episodes as character growth. Because when the plot of an episode doesn't advance much or doesn't take much consequences after said episode, they usually, what they do is to create a new part of a character or make a part that we knew grow. In this case, I think it was a growth for Pompon and for the rest, because now they learn to take Pompon more seriously, because yes, he was correct during the dungeon invasion. They ignore him, believe him to be a dumbass, and yes, he's kind of a dumbass, but in this case he was an expert. So yeah, they learned that they need to listen to every single one of the members of their team. And yes, that is what I love about Wakfu. Maybe it doesn't have much of a relevance for the plot in the future, but it does have a relevance in the character group. So yeah, I think I spoke enough about this episode in the last video. So yeah, let's just cut this and watch the next one, shall we? They are eating meat. Yeah, these two good old friends. Oh, and that looks delicious.
Alibert, vous avez vu mon père?
Ton père? Tu veux dire le roi? Non.
They're hiding something.
Il est parti.
What are they hiding? Okay, what is the deal here?
C'est nouveau ce bosquet?
He was literally hiding. Of course. Yeah. Oh. This is a very calm episode. Holy. That's a lot of Wakfu. Oh. What? Wait, yes, that is the formula chi with Nogs. Okay, this is so intriguing. Oh, yeah, this image. Oh, the information. Man, what the hell is going on? What was that? What? Okay, what is happening?
Régime, tu n'as Avec ce mot à la bouche. Bout de la
Oh, come on, don't leave me hanging like that! Yes! What the hell is going on? What? What?
Le Dofus de Grougal, il a éclos. Adamaï.
It was... Oh! It hatched and it has a dragon! Oh!
Pas prévu. Grougal et son frère.
Yes!
Ils sont trop mignons. Hein?
What? Who's that? That is another... Oh! That's an older one!
Du calme. Personne ne vous veut de mal.
Vous? C'est bien vous.
Wait, what is going on?
Hugo. Je suis Hugo.
What? Yes, exactly, who are you?
Vous êtes un Eliatrope.
It looks like an Eliatrope. Okay, what is going on here? I am so intrigued and I want to watch those
Tellement à raconter.
in slow motion.
Faites-moi voir. Faites-moi voir comment est devenu le monde.
So he's an old Eliatrope. But why does he know Hugo and Adamite? He speaks like he knows them. Man, this is so weird. Okay, again, that's a gorgeous scene.
Les Eliatropes sont nés très loin d'ici.
Oh, more lore!
Très très loin. Là-haut, par-delà le ciel.
Oh, so yeah, this is more akin to the... Oh!
Et le monde est infini comme le sont les
Oh, this is so cool!
À tout cela, nous avons donné un nom, le Cosmos.
Cosmo.
Où commence le Cosmos? A-t-il une fin? Nul ne le sait. Il reste tant à découvrir.
Oh,
Ah, Hugo.
this is so
Si
neat!
seulement tu pouvais te souvenir des aurores teintées de Wakfu, du parfum des océans fleuris
Oh,
et du chant des dragons. Cette harmonie était telle que nos races furent unies dès la naissance. Notre peuple était régi par
oh,
le
this is so cool!
les 6 premiers à être venus au monde. Mais plutôt devrais-je dire les 12. Chibi et son frère dragon, Grougaloragran, étaient les plus
Oh,
ensemble, ils créèrent...
so, oh, holy!
Mina et Faeris avaient pour don la sagesse, et ils résolvaient toutes les querelles qui pouvaient opposer leurs frères.
Man, this is so...
Philippe et Balthazar avaient pour passion l'enseignement, et ils transmettaient le savoir et la
So much
connaissance
information!
à nos enfants. Déesse, qu'il était plaisant de regarder Nora et Ephraim jouer en toute insouciance.
Oh!
Et vous, Hugo,
Oh!
toujours en quête de sensations fortes, défenseurs et protecteurs.
This
de
is
notre
so
peuple.
cool! I'm having chills, man!
Quelle fierté pour moi et ma sœur Shinonome d'être roi et reine d'un peuple aussi brillant.
Oh!
Nous attaqua.
Oh!
Il trouvait notre science magique. Il s'appelait
I'm sorry, I don't...
les
Nikas! There is ton of information!
négociation n'était possible. Leur seul but était la destruction.
Wait, they look like... Oh!
Notre monde était menacé de disparition. Nous luttions pour notre survie. La seule
Man, this
solution
is...
était la fuite. Grâce à la puissance de l'Eliacube, nous avons conçu un vaisseau nous permettant de naviguer
Oh!
entre les étoiles. Le Zénith.
Oh, wait! Mount Sinit! Oh, man! This is... Oh!
Inconnu, une odyssée désespérée à la recherche d'une nouvelle terre d'accueil. Notre errance dans le cosmos dura des années.
This is so intriguing, so interesting, so cool.
Nous prenions dans des planètes vides le Wakfu nécessaire pour alimenter l'Eliacube et propulser le
Oh.
vaisseau, bondissant de monde en monde, toujours plus loin. Et c'est ainsi que nous finîmes par trouver cette terre.
Man, this is so...
Regorgé de vie, le Wakfu en imprégnait chaque parcelle. En quelques années, notre peuple parvint.
Dude, this is so cool.
Alors commença une nouvelle ère de joie et de prospérité. Mais à nouveau, le destin s'acharna sur nous. L'Eliatropes, connu sous le nom
Argonax.
retrouva notre trace. Et ce fut à nouveau la guerre. Orgonax fit de terribles ravages. Il semblait indestructible. Malgré notre vaillance, il nous était impossible.
Man, this is intriguing.
Dont ma sœur, Dragon.
Oh.
Tous ensemble, les adultes Eliatropes sacrifièrent leur Wakfu pour mettre les enfants à l'abri, les envoyant dans une dimension
Holy.
du temps. Et vous deux, contre ma volonté, vous firent de même avec moi.
Oh.
Voici la vie.
Je comprends pas, c'est pourquoi le Dofus de Grugal a éclos si vite, alors que le nôtre il a mis une éternité avant de le faire.
De nous tous, c'est vous deux qui avez fait le plus grand sacrifice. La seule façon de détruire Orgonax était de mettre jusqu'à votre dernière parcelle de vie dans une ultime attaque. Grâce à la déesse, vous avez réussi, mais le sacrifice de Wakfu fut tel que votre corps a dû mettre des milliers d'années pour se régénérer.
So that's why.
Je sens sa présence dans cette zone. C'est diffus.
Griffon, tu reconnais cet endroit?
C'est l'archipel des griffes pourpres.
Oh man.
Good alors.
Désolé, mais j'ai bien peur de ne pas pouvoir y aller avec toi. Je suis encore bien trop faible.
Yes, you can say.
Qu'est-ce qu'on fait?
He's too young to travel.
Réfléchisse, mais ce qui est sûr, c'est qu'on peut pas-
Yes, exactly.
Quoi qu'il en soit, petit frère, je te promets de ramener notre famille à bon port. Parole d'Eliatrope.
Oh, this is... Oh, man. And of course, yes, it's over. Yeah, stop with their faces with... Oh, okay, enough. Because I can't watch the spoilers. So, it just took another episode to come back to a bigger plot. Man, the amount of information that this episode gave me, man, I love it. The story behind the Eliatropes and the dragons and the race. Oh man, this is so amazing. I will need to watch this like 3-4 times to get it all. And yes, I'm gonna be scribbling my notes like crazy. But yeah, as always, I'm gonna watch this again, as I said before, several times. And back in my comments. See you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I just watched several times the 6th episode because the amount of information that this episode gave me is unbelievable. I'm so excited because, yes, it answered several questions I had before. Why the Eliatropes were so important, how they can create everything, why the dragons are so connected to them, and all those questions. And yes, the amount, again, I'm so excited because I really honestly don't know how to start this. It is unbelievably fascinating, the lore that this episode gave me. And yes, the excitement I'm feeling right now is not been diminishing. From the moment I start to realize that this episode was something bigger than I thought before, that excitement hasn't left me. And yes, I took a ton of notes. The amount of information, I have to pause the video several times during my second and my third watching it because I wanted to really have accurate information about this one. Yeah, it's it's so exciting to be speaking about and to analyze something like this. The amount, as I said before, the information that it gave us, the creative way of showing us everything, and of course the lore behind the story of the Eliatropes is unbelievably interesting, fascinating, and I cannot wait to reach that point. But yeah, as always, I'm gonna go in order and scene by scene. First, of course, we saw Adamai being still a little bit angry because he was left behind by Hugo and friends. He wasn't take to this adventure because perhaps he thought that they didn't. He wasn't part of the group in that moment. Of course, this is not the case. It was because of an emergency. If they will have go after him and say, "Oh, you need to hurry," perhaps the arrow will have disappeared, and the consequences will be a lot worse. Now we are seeing Pompon alive and well with his own body. We saw Rubilax in the sword, and it's kind of confirmed to us that Rubilax is not a bad demon, let's say, or is not as bad as some others, because yeah, he kind of have a good heart in him, if you can call him heart. But anyway, yes, it is a fascinating episode, that one. But yeah, I understand that anger from Adamai. Of course, he understands that, but the other portion of his anger, of others thought that his anger was pulled out because he wanted to know more about his own race, about the Eliatropes and about the dragons. And of course, so they are connected, or very deeply connected between them. If you find about one, you will find about the other. And he's really, I don't want to say pestering, but really insisting that Hugo start to see or start to use the Eliacube and see the information that is needed. And I'm going to say something in the end about the Eliacube. So yes, it is a fascinating tool, the Eliacube. But again, I'm gonna wait for that in the end. Then of course we saw a small cute scene between Pompon and Evangeline. This is more of a showing of the characters hasn't changed that much. They haven't changed that much. They are still kind of silly, kind of bantering, but it's cute. Again, you saw how terrible of a reader Pompon is, because he can barely read like a sentence. And yes, even if he barely understands what she writes or what she wrote, he still feels nice. I don't want to say nice. He still feels warm inside because somebody wrote so many beautiful things about him. In this case, Evangeline. Because yes, she was completely in love back then, and that's when she realized her feelings, and she needs to pour these feelings out. Because as I said in previous videos, one of the regrets I think she had is because she never told him directly that she loves him. That was one of her regrets. And now she kind of freely expressed said feelings, but back then she didn't know that Pompon was alive, not well, but alive at least. And the only way she can express, kind of diminish the pain in that moment, was to write all this. And yes, they are about to share more warm moments. They were about to kiss, but of course a bunch of kids interrupt the moment. They were curious about Pompon because they wanted to meet the hero that saved the race by sacrificing himself. Of course, Pompon's ego is massive because he knows himself a hero and he has a statue and he's alive to see said statue. And I can only imagine the way he reacted in the moment he saw said statue. It's a shame we didn't saw that, but I would love to see that because yes, the ego of this man must be gigantic, with a good reason. He really did save a kingdom. He really did something very honorable and very humble, and a very great deed was performed by him. And of course, we are seeing other scenes in which we discover that the king and the prince are kind of delegating everything they don't want to do to Amalia. And yes, the poor chancellor is kind of, you have to help us with this. What is the new diet for the carnivorous plants and all that? But she's just so fed up that she doesn't want to deal with everything that they don't want to do. And of course, he goes to visit her dad. Because, yeah, my guess is the brother is more difficult to find because he's farther away. And since the dad is in the castle, well, if you can call that a castle, it's going to be easier. And yes, in the gardens, when he should be meditating, we find kind of a small picnic of Alibert and Heruel. For a moment, I forgot his name, sorry. So yeah, they are having a kind of a feast because yes, they're getting meat. And again, I love the way these guys, these animators, grow food. It looks so delicious, so appetizing. That really, I'm glad that I really did eat before watching this episode because yes, just for that small scene, I will be hungry. But luckily, I just ate something. Yeah, they are kind of having fun, and she's suspicious. Amalia is suspicious of something else happening because yes, the way they speak in this moment is very intriguing and very suspicious. Oh, you're here. You're looking for your father? I mean, you're the king? I don't know where he could be. Of course, she see through the lies like there were freaking glasses. And yeah, she found her dad kind of hiding in a camouflage. Well, my guess is they can camouflage themselves as trees or something similar. And he was found out. Because my guess is he was going to eat alongside with them. My guess is the king still enjoys a lot of meat, a lot of protein, and all of that. So, and my guess again is that it's not very beneficial for his health. I don't know because if he's a Sarira or because of his age. So yeah, Amalia is not very happy with the result of her search because yeah, the king didn't want to be disturbed because he wants to really eat a lot. And in this case, meat. Which is funny because of the context of everything. Amalia is angry because she was being using, or the king and the prince was delegating stuff or unimportant stuff or boring stuff to her. Perhaps the brother is doing a lot more, really checking the troops and all that. Perhaps really the brother is working hard. But the king not so much. The king just wants to eat. So that's why she's angry towards her dad. But then everything when I was just saying that this was a very calm episode, everything turns 180 degrees. They took out the Dofus, Gargle Dofus, and the Eliacube. Because now Adamai really wants to find out about the truth about the Eliatropes and the dragons. What happened to them? Why they are not in this kingdom anymore or in this world anymore? And it's a very interesting way in which the Eliacube works. Because, yeah, it gave information, but you need to be feeding a Wakfu to it. In this case, the Dofus Wakfu, my guess is Adamai's Wakfu, and of course Hugo's Wakfu. Everything fed the cube enough for them to be able to see a little bit of what happened with their race. But something else happened. The amount of Wakfu given to this cube was enough to open a door, to open a portal to another dimension. A dimension without time and without space. they bring back someone. In this case, Quibble. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. And not only that happened, the Dofus of Gargle hatch. And he is accompanied by another Eliatrope. In this case, Chibi. Chibi and Gargle are brothers. Twin brothers, let's say. And that's when I start to see what the hell is going on. I have no idea what was going on in that moment. Of course, the huge amount of energy that was released in that moment from the cube alert the rest of the kingdom, because yes, this huge column of energy, column of light was visible, very visible. And of course, the king starts to command the troops to go and search what the hell was that, because yes, they just recovered themselves from a war against a maniac, and something similar happened to them perhaps not even weeks ago. So yes, they are in high alert and they are looking for whatever the source of that energy was. They don't know where Yugo and Adamai are, and they are looking for them, or they are not looking for them because they are more worried about that. After the fact, they are starting to get worried because yes, where the hell they are. Yeah, it is a fascinating moment because they find them because they saw the last moments in which the Eliacube was active, the light of these last moments of the Eliacube, of the activity of the Eliacube in this moment. Of course, I'm not saying that the Eliacube is dead and is not going to longer work. No, it's just in this moment he has spent all the work. Yeah, they find, as I said before, Quibble and the hatching of Dofus. I have to say, Gargle looks adorable as a mini dragon or as a baby dragon. It looks very, very cute, and the baby, yeah, it's looked like a baby. It's a cute image too. The image of those two is pretty cute. But of course, we saw, and in the moment I saw him, I said, this guy is an Eliatrope. The way it looks, the way of the freaking, I don't know, bandana hat or whatever you want to call that. It's kind of, yeah, this is an Eliatrope. I was so excited because what is going on? What is going to happen? We're going to learn more. We're going to know where they are, why they transport only this guy here. Those are the questions that were running wild in my mind. And I really was curious as to know what the hell was going on. Of course, in the moment, the way he speaks, while I was watching this section, I didn't know anything about this guy. So, but the way he spoke towards Yugo and Adamai, that told me that he knew these guys. He knew them. He kind of recognized them. But why? In that moment, again, I didn't know jack shit about anything. So I was full of doubt, but so excited because I was certain that the information was going to be delivered to me. So, yeah, I was so excited. Yeah, I am still in shock because the episode is that good. But anyway, yeah, moving forward. This poor guy faints because my guess is the energy that he just expends, I don't know, going to this dimension. And nobody knows anything, only that he is an Eliatrope because he mentioned that, but nobody knows more about him. Not Yugo, not Adamai, nobody. Perhaps Gargle will have recognized him, but he's just a baby now. So, yeah, it's kind of shocking for anybody. And yeah, my guess is the shock is also what kind of make him faint. Of course, the next scene we're seeing him in a bed, getting cured by one of these fairies. I'm still calling him fairy because I don't remember the name of the race. Sorry about that. And of course, the prince is kind of scolding Adamai and Yugo because what they did was dangerous. They should have waited for a commission and all that. Yes. Luckily, nothing happened, and they kind of were forgiven because, well, yeah, they were the savers of the kingdom, so they deserve a little bit of I don't know, lineage in here. So, yeah, they go and visit him, and that's when we discover that, yeah, he knows them. He knows Adamai and Hugo. The way he speaks to them, the way he behaves, everything is showing that he knows these two guys. Still in that moment, we're not sure why. Or at least I'm not sure why. Of course, you have seen this series a million times perhaps. But yeah, not me. I was still full of doubt in this case. Yeah, we learned that he's really an Eliatrope. And he wants to see this new world. Because he's not sure how much it has changed. Perhaps he believes that one of these machines, one of these kind of mechanic race is, well, destroy the world. But no, nothing of that happens. He sees the world, and yeah, this guy is thousands and thousands of years old. Perhaps he hasn't lived that long, because yes, he was in a dimension without time and without space. So yeah, technically he's perhaps, I don't know, he looks like he's 40, and perhaps that is his age. Or perhaps he's a lot older, because I don't know exactly how an Eliatrope will age. I am not still sure about that. And then we learn that the Eliatropes are not from this world, from the world of Wakfu. They come from beyond the stars. And I mean, yes, from literally another planet. Far, far, far away from this one. And yes, we were introduced to the concept of the cosmos, I think it will correct pronunciation. It's basically the cosmos, the universe. And yes, they are hinting that in this, well, in the universe of Wakfu, there is kind of a multiverse in this, well, the concept of multiverse. That yes, the universe is self-contained in this kind of an egg form. Perhaps it's just a reference or something else. But of course, there are several of them. So yeah, my guess is that is kind of new lore and new information to give. This, of course, is irrelevant to the story right now, because yeah, the concept of multiverse, what is going to happen, what is not going to happen, it's a complete different topic from another moment. Yes, they come from far away. And this is, again, when a lot of answers were given, but a lot of questions emerged. Yes, this world apparently has kind of, well, what I understand is kind of auroras triggered by Wakfu, if I'm not mistaken. But who created the Wakfu that created the auroras? If it was them, or it was a naturally occurring event in this planet. So yeah, the amount of Wakfu in this world must have been immense. So that's why they have such an advanced knowledge of, well, the energy, that is the magic, or the Wakfu. So perhaps that is that. And again, I found it fascinating because they literally say a sea of flowers. And I don't want to say, but what it looks like is literally an ocean of flowers. Literally. Millions upon millions and perhaps billions of flowers that form this huge, immense mass of, well, flowers, literally. And yes, even kind of a whale is swimming, I don't want to say swimming, but something similar to that, in that, well, sea of flowers. Of course, they describe this world as very beautiful because, yeah, even the singing of the dragons is something gorgeous and that you should listen. Unfortunately, he's not able. Hugo is not able because, yes, he's far, far, far away from this world. And the way they reach the world, the actual world in which they are living, in which everybody is, well, having their adventures and all that, is because they were invaded. But I'm going to speak about that later on because, yes, first I need to speak about the first 6 Eliatropes, and of course their first 6 dragon brothers and sisters. I still have doubts about it because, yes, from what I have seen and from what the episode told us, these 6 are immortal, literally immortal, in the way in which, of course, if they die, they will be reborn in a new Dufus and the cycle is going to start over again. But my question is if only these 6, well, only these 6 Eliatropes and the 6 dragons are immortal. Only them, or the whole race is immortal. From what I have interpreted, only these first 6 Eliatropes and first 6 dragons are the immortal ones. The rest, not so much, because if they really... From the way they say that they need to save the children, perhaps if they die, they just die. They don't revive. They are not essentially immortal. So that's why they need to protect them from harm. So that is my guess, that only the first 6 are really, truly immortal. So that is my interpretation for what I have seen so far. And yes, let's speak about the members of this council of, well, old Eliatropes and old dragons. The first 2 is Chibi and Gordel. I'm not going to try to really butcher the name again, because yeah, the last time it was a terrible pronunciation. But anyway, yes, these 2 guys were the inventors of the race, the creators, and yes, literally the creators of the Eliacube. They made this machine, this artifact, because I don't know if I should call it machine, but yes, both of them created the Eliacube, and my guess is that's why he was so desperate trying to find him, because yes, he literally dropped him. My guess is when they were attacked by this race, by Orgonax, is my guess. He dropped the cube in the fight against Orgonax. And that's why he was so desperate trying to find the freaking Eliacube, Gargle, I mean. So yes, these 2 were the creators of the Eliacube. Then of course we have Mina and Faeris. These 2 were the counselors of the race. Very wise, and they of course kind of a Solomonic vibe I'm getting from them. But yes, they are very wise, and they can resolve disputes in which both parts are happy with the result. So yeah, there's kind of this, as I said before, a Solomonic vibe from these 2. Then we have Gleb and Balthazar, the teachers. They want to pass the knowledge toward the next generation. Every single bit of information they have, they're going to try to pass it on towards their children or the brothers, or I don't know why they call them, the rest of the race. And yes, these guys are the teachers. They want to preserve the knowledge by passing on. Then we have Nora and Ephraim. These 2 guys, I really didn't get much information about their role. They kind of more like free spirits, innocent souls. They enjoy life, and yes, perhaps they gave another perspective to the counseling and to the really this committee of 6 elder Eliatropes and elder dragons. So that is my guess, that was their role in their society. Then we have finally Hugo and Adamite, which their role was kind of the protectors. They were really adventurers. They want all this excitement and only wanting thrills, but they of course were in charge of protecting the rest of the race. They were kind of the guardians, kind of the soldiers. They're really powerful soldiers. And yeah, it's kind of fitting, because hell, even when Hugo and Adamite are just children, they're very powerful and very capable of learning new techniques and new combat skills. So yeah, it's very fitting. And finally we have Quibble and Shinonome. Shinonome. I don't really know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. And these were kind of the rulers of the land, the king and queen, of course brother and sister, king and queen of the race. They were elected because they were the first one of the more intelligent ones. I'm really not sure about that, but yeah, it is these 6 were the ones in charge of the race. They were the principals, the first ones, and yeah, it is incredibly amazing the amount of information that you are given in this moment, because now essentially we know that Hugo is technically immortal, that he comes from another planet alongside with another race, and yes, every single member, or at least the 6 of them, are technically immortal, and they can rescue them. And I don't know if during the entirety of the season 2 we're going to see a lot more Eliatropes. I don't know if we're going to see the other the other three, because yes, we have seen Hugo and Adamai, we have seen Chibi and Gorgol, and we have seen Quibble, but we haven't seen his sister, and the other three we haven't seen either. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to be seeing them. I hope we will, because again, their story is fascinating, really, really fascinating. To just being a mere mention in this episode. But of course, everything was fine, but unfortunately a new race attack, the Mikasm, I think it's the correct pronunciation, or Mikasm, I'm gonna say it like that. Yes, they were the enemy, and from what I get is very similar to the robots. So the first invasion, the first small ones, were kind of similar to the robots from Nox. The Mikasm attacked this race. They wanted, I don't know why. Perhaps they just conquering planets after planet after planet. Of course, this was one of them. But what I found fascinating about this episode and what the lore they gave us is the ship, the way they escaped. Because yes, they thought that they didn't have any hope into defeating this entire race of. They sound like robots. From what I am hearing from the episode, they sound very similar to robots or androids or something similar to that. So they escape the freaking planet in a ship named Sinit. And yes, that name rang a bell in the moment I hear it. Because if I'm not mistaken, that is the name of the tallest mountain in this world. So a gigantic ship enough to rescue the members of this race is now literally a mountain in this world. Because I don't think this is coincidence. I think this has something to do with Mount Sinit. Every single reference and why they were taken towards that. Why the Eliacube took them to Mount Sinit in the last episode of the first season. So yeah, now I kind of understand the reason behind everything that happened in the last episode. Kind of. Perhaps I'm right, perhaps I'm wrong. I am still not certain of anything right now. So, yeah. Again, the hidden lore within this episode is fascinating because it made me understand a lot of the stuff that I was doubting, a lot of the stuff that I had no idea what is the deal, why the Eliacube did this, why we are hearing voices from the Eliacube, why everything that is happened that way. So, they escape in their ship. And I love this image. I love the image of the dragons flying into space, literally flying into space, and the ship behind them. So, my guess is only 6 dragons escape from this world. Unfortunately, the rest perhaps perish. And of course, the rest of the Eliatropes, or the Eliatropes that survived up until that moment, were escaping in the freaking ship. And the way they keep propelling the ship is because they absorb the Wakfu from several empty worlds, as they call them. They absorb the Wakfu and keep moving and moving and moving and moving until they arrive to the planet in which everything happens. They arrive to the planet and start to reconstruct their own civilization. Because yes, it was filled to the brim with Wakfu. And they knew it because they can feel the Wakfu. They can see the Wakfu in their world. They can know what is going on within the intricacies of the rivers of Wakfu. From what we saw from, again, the last season. But when everything was going just dandy for them, again, one of these Mikasms arrive and catch up with them, and the name of this Mikasm was Orgonax. I don't know if he's going to have a lot more relevance later on, but my guess is an important guy, because this, again, just one, my guess is one of a huge one, because yes, even the dragons look very small when they are facing this guy. Orgonax. So yeah, the guy is huge, it's immense, and that's why they have taken so much damage from that thing. So they start to fight because they want to defend and they don't want to run away anymore. And since it's not the entirety of the race of these mechanisms, that perhaps they have a chance to win against this guy. But unfortunately, it is not just without a consequence. The death of one of the rulers, in this case Shinonome, is still, I guess it still hurts, because yes, it's your brother. You saw your sister, in this case, not brother, sorry, die. And yes, you see that everything is returning back to the history they only live, because yes, they thought they were doing fine, but no, actually something else happened, and the hell you lived before, you are reliving it in this new world. And they are not willing to go to that hell again. The adults sacrifice their Wakfu to the cube so he can open a door to a dimension without space and without time, in which they will keep their children safe from this monster. The idea was that the original ones were about to, well, fight and face this terrible threat, and the children will be safe, and when they defeat this monster, they will bring them back. My guess is that exactly what happened, or what the idea was, well, what they thought it should happen. But thanks to being the king, or thanks to the injury he received from this Orgonax. Sorry about that. I really have problems with the names. Orgonax, thanks to the injury he received from the Orgonax, he was sent to this dimension too. Hugo sent him to that dimension. And they continue to fight. And he doesn't know anymore about the rest what happened, because he's trapped in this dimension. He doesn't know what happened. My guess is in the end, Hugo and Adamai defeat this beast, but they sacrifice all their Wakfu to do so. So that's why they, well, they were just in an egg, in a Dofus. And from what the information they gave us is that these Dofus took a lot of time to hatch. But yeah, they finished the story without much else to say. They know now that the race is not completely gone. They know that the race exists in a different dimension, trapped there, because they need the Eliacube to bring them back. But the amount of energy needed to bring all the children from said race back is immense. They want that. Perhaps with the help of the Dofus and the dragon and the new Eliatrope that arrive, they could open the portal. But of course they need to find the Dofus of this guy, the Dofus of Quibble. It's not going to hatch, because for that to happen, both need to be inside the egg, from the information that the episode gave us. They need to be inside, so in the moment that Quibble dies, he's going to return to the egg and he's going to hatch later on. They're going to find the cube, thanks to the Dofus, and thanks to the cube, they're able to locate it, and the map gives them a lot more information, so they are certain as to where this egg is. Something that I'm not entirely sure is that if Amalia is going to go with them. I don't know if she's going to accompany them, or she needs to stay within the kingdom because she has a lot more responsibilities now. That is something I'm not entirely sure or clear about. But what I'm sure is that this kingdom is ready to receive all the Eliatropes that are going to return. How long this is going to take, I don't know. I don't know if this is now the plot that is going to guide us towards the end of the season. I don't know if that is the case, or if we are going to resolve a little bit sooner this one. Perhaps from the amount of, I don't want to say power, the amount of information that we need, the amount of plot that needs to be discovered, the amount of answers that this series needs to give us, I am deducing that it's going to take the whole season. But again, I was wrong about that in the last kind of plot I deduced. So I am still not sure about that. Of course, they locate the egg, but Quibble cannot go because he's way too weak to travel, and they cannot take Gorgle because it's a baby. Even if it's a baby dragon, it's dangerous for Gorgle to go in that moment. Of course, that comes to Chibi too. So the group is going to go to this place, which I don't remember the name, even if they mention it, to find the cube. As I said before, I don't think this is going to be an easy task. And perhaps they are going to need a lot more Dofus. Perhaps they're going to need to find the Dofus of the other three. Perhaps they're going to need them and they need to be hatched, or they need just the energy or something along those lines. So perhaps, yes, they're going to quickly recover the egg and go back, but figure out that this is not enough and we're going to need a lot more, and they're going to try to find the other three Dofus so they can really bring the entire race back. Now, about the little moments I want to speak about. First, the Eliacube. We know that Nox hears voices from the Eliacube, and before that I wasn't sure if it was just his dementia or if it really was hearing voices and it was a trap set from somebody else, and because he needed to use the cube. But yeah, my guess is it was kind of conscious. The voices that he heard were the voices of the children, or the voices, even Quibble voices perhaps. And the way he treats Nox is because the cube wanted energy, so he can use it to open the portal and bring back the entire race. So yeah, my guess is that the cube used literally Nox to gain energy and to bring the race back. Because yeah, from what I have seen, that is the best theory I can come up with the amount of information this episode gave me. I am still not sure about anything related to Nox and the Eliacube. As I said before, the information is sketchy at best because we don't know entirely sure if it really was the cube speaking or it was just the dementia of Nox, the crazy mind that went away. Of course, another stuff I want to speak about is that I really watched or rewatched part of the episode in which they recovered the Dofus from Gorgle. I wanted to see if it was visible, if the Eliatrope was visible within the egg, or if it was not. It wasn't. And I watched the episode in which Pom Pom died, and tried to see if the cube again was visible, both were visible, but no, we only saw Gargle in that moment. I didn't saw Chibi. It wasn't visible in the moment he arrived to the cube. I mean, so yes, perhaps it's hidden or the light, and of course they don't want to give anything away in that moment, and that's why he just gave us this information right now. So yeah. Again, the world building in this episode is amazing. It's unbelievable. And of course, what else? I'm forgetting something else that I really want to discuss now. Again, the responsibility of Amalia. I am still not sure if she's going to accompany these guys or if she's just going to stay within the kingdom and, I don't know, relate information, and what is going to happen with the rest of the Eliatropes, if they are here in this world and their eggs are just scattered around the world and they're going to find them, or if not going to see them again. I hope this is not the case. I really want to see this race, and I want to see every member of this council, and I want to see the different dragons. Perhaps they are teenagers, they are not young, because yes, it's going to take a while for a dragon to develop this huge size. And I don't know, and I don't think we're going to ever see Adamai in his full adult form, because from what I saw in the little image, while the explanation of the of what happened to the race, Anime looks incredibly amazing. It looks so cool in his full adult form. And yes, Hugo looks pretty cool too. I love the look, the way it looks, so badass even. So yeah, I would love to see an episode in which we're shown their adult forms in the future, perhaps. Hopefully in season 3 we're going to see something along those lines, perhaps in the last episode of season 3. I don't know if the season 3 is the last one season and there are not going to be any more seasons, or if there is a 4th season coming. I don't want to investigate that because I don't want to see a spoiler, because yes, when I start to investigate and there turns out there's going to be a 4th season, there's going to be, oh, this happened in the last season though. So yeah, that's why I'm not investigating any of that. Another stuff, and this is more light stuff, is the way the king behaves. He's kind of fed up with responsibility, but the way he dealt with said responsibility, just having fun with the other 2 grown-ups that saved the kingdom. Well, the other grown-up that saved the kingdom and the father of one of their saviors. So, yeah, it is kind of a child's behavior, but a very interesting one. And I love the way the face of Amalia looks in that moment. That she said that, really, Dad? Really? You're just avoiding responsibility like this because you want to have a picnic with a bunch of friends? So yeah, perhaps I'm interpreting too much in that side, in that look she gave him, but that's what I see in that moment. So, a very interesting episode with a lot of information and a lot of stuff that I did not expect. As I said before, I thought this was going to be a light episode. A funny episode in which we're going to see shenanigans and nothing major was going to happen. That we're going to be relaxing. But that changed very quickly. It's a complete 180 degree turn. Because in the first moments of the episode, nothing really important happens. It was kind of, we're seeing our heroes in a slice of life episode. We're seeing them as how they naturally behave in this environment. We're seeing them calm, collected, having fun, having small fights, but nothing really major. But suddenly the episode turns and it gave me a huge amount of information that I have to analyze. I took notes after notes after notes. I have to check the names. I have to check what were their roles in their society, how the immortality works, why only these 6, or if only these 6 were immortal. So much information, and I love this episode. This has become one of my favorites so far. And it didn't have this spectacular fight, but the lore, the way it was expanded, is what makes this episode so great. Because it answered several questions I had, and even questions that I did not even think about. That's why it's so fascinating. And I don't know, it's exciting to see this, because now we have a new goal: to recover the children of the Eliatropes. And again, I ask this question because I am still not certain, or 100% certain, if the entire Eliatrope race is immortal, or only these 6 figures, these 6 head figures were the immortal ones. If it's a spoiler, please just let me figure that out later on. If it's not, if it's never mentioned but you know it from some other source, please let me know, because that is going to drive me crazy until I figure it out. So yeah, I think I really exhausted the topic of this episode. A fascinating one, an interesting one, and yes, I spoke a lot during this one. I don't know if I'm going to reach the hour in the video, but my guess is going to be pretty close to that. Boy, it really deserved the time I took to read, to check, and to rewatch the episode several times. But yeah, I think that's it for now, guys. I'm gonna be telling you now for pointless information. So yeah, the only thing I have to say, guys, is thank you for your comments, for your views, for your likes, and for your subscriptions. If you want to be a subscriber, click on the button for subscriptions and on the bell so you can get notifications. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description below. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this analysis. I hope you enjoyed this episode, because I certainly did, both sides. And well, thanks for your attention, and see you on the next one. Bye.